Hello students, if you remember some experiments from last year in your 8th standard, once we experimented with curds. We always have curds at home, but that day in the lab what we did, we took a drop of curd and put that drop on the slide and we tried to observe it under microscope. And what did we see? We saw some rod shaped microbes. They were looking somewhat like this. It was lactobacilli. It was a bacteria. And we then classified this under a kingdom, Monera. Are you able to recollect? We did another experiment. Do you remember? Any of you? We were told to collect pond water. And our lab assistant brought pond water from the nearby pond, and we took a drop of water, just plain water from the pond, and we tried to see what we can see under the microscope. And can you recollect what you saw? We saw something like this. It was an irregular shaped organism and we named it as amoeba. Then from the lab we also try to see euglena and other things. It comes under kingdom Protista. Did we stop there? No. Do you remember the day when the lab was smelling of stale bread? We brought stale bread, not to eat but to study. The bread was looking something like this last year. Now you don't try this at home. We tried to observe that black part of the bread and we found something similar to this. Now this is from your textbook. No, it was fungus. And we classified this organism last year as kingdom fungi. Now these are the three kingdoms that we had studied last year. This year we will continue. In your 9th standard, we will continue the remaining kingdoms, because now the organisms are not only these. There are so many more organisms. These are microscopic. There are many things which we look around and we have to classify them also. Do you remember how many more kingdoms are there? We already saw Protista, first Monera, Protista and fungi. Can you remember? No? Try to recollect. There are two more kingdoms. One is kingdom Plantae and other one is kingdom Animalia. This year in your 9th standard you will be studying kingdom Plantae and its classification. So shall we go ahead? Now we are going to see the table of classification of living organisms. Later we will see the characteristics. Now we will see how these 5 kingdoms such as Monera, Protista, fungi, Plantae and Animalia, all 5, how they are classified we are going to see. First one is prokaryotic, means not well developed cells, and those organisms are classified under Monera, which we studied last year, so I am not going to repeat it now. Next is eukaryotic. Eukaryotic are quite well developed cells, but among those well developed cells some organisms are unicellular and those are grouped under Protista. That also we saw last year. Next is multicellular. They have more than one cells. They are again classified based on different characters. Let's see which are those. One without cell wall, and that is Animalia. We also come under Animalia because our cells do not have cell wall. Next is with cell wall. Can you guess what are those? Yes, those are plants, all different kinds of plants. Autotrophs. Autotrophs are those which we produce their own food. They are kingdom Plantae. Then heterotrophs, they are what? Fungi. So these are the 5 kingdoms: Monera, Protista, Plantae, Fungi and Animalia. Now let us go to the next slide. Here, now what I have done is I have only taken Plantae. We are going to study only that kingdom. So we will see how Plantae is further subdivided into different categories. Just to give you a difference between plant cell and animal cell, what is the basic difference? Because we saw, the organisms are classified into unicellular and multicellular, and again multicellular ones are classified as one without cell wall, one with cell wall. Without cell wall is animals, with cell wall is plants. Now let's see how they are basically different. This is a standard plant cell and this is a typical animal cell. Now you see, this is the basic difference. Did you see this cell wall becoming thick? I put different colors so that you are able to see that. Whereas this animal cell on the right side, which is not a circle or a rectangle but of kind of irregular shape, it doesn't have a cell wall. Next important thing to note is we also saw plants are autotrophic, most of them. So what does it mean? They make their own food, and what helps in that process? There is something, you will see different circles blinking on your screen, turning blue. Those are chloroplast. Can you see that? Those are turning blue, chloroplast. These things help plant cells to produce their own foods. This is the basic difference, cells and cell organelles of kingdom Plantae from other cells. Now, on what basis these plants are classified? There are different ways of classification. This one is presence and absence of cell wall and other cell organelles. Now, that is the main character. Now, among plants, how are they classified? All of them have cell wall. Now, so we have to look into further characters. First, presence and absence of different organs. Next, presence or absence of separate conducting tissues. Now, what are conducting tissues? That you will study in higher standards. Conducting tissues help plants to conduct water from root to leaves, and then leaves produce, through photosynthesis they produce food. Those food is conducted from leaves to the roots and other parts of the plant. Now this year we are not going to study all those, but this is also another character that helps in differentiating plants. Do plants bear seeds? If they do, then whether they are enclosed in a fruit or not, depending upon the presence and absence of seeds and also its position. The position of seed, whether inside the fruit or outside the fruit. You may be surprised. Yes, there are plants which produce seeds outside the fruit. We will study that and see some examples in the coming days, before we complete this lesson. The number of cotyledons in the seeds. Now, after looking into the seeds, again, what is cotyledons? We will look into it, in detail after a while. So these are basic levels of classification of plants. Now we have higher level of classification, and that is based on the following characters. First one is presence or absence of flower, fruit, seeds. So based on that, the plants are classified as cryptogams and phanerogams. The name might sound a little difficult. Don't worry, we are going to look into details in all of them. Now we are only seeing the level of classification. Then if the fruits are present, then whether seeds are enclosed or exposed. Then if the seeds are again enclosed, whether they are monocotyledons or dicotyledons. We will see all these characters in the coming days. Kingdom Plantae. Now this kingdom is divided into two subkingdoms. One is subkingdom Cryptogams, and the other one we will see later. This subkingdom Cryptogam is again divided into further divisions. How many? You will see now. First one is division Thallophyta. Okay. What is the meaning of Cryptogams? Crypto means hidden, something hidden which you can't see. What is hidden but reproductive organs? How do plants reproduce generally? They produce flowers, and flowers turn into fruits. The fruit, when they get ripened, the seeds fall, or we eat and throw the seeds, and those seeds are able to produce a new plants. So the flowers contain reproductive organs of the plant. Now in this group Cryptogams, there is no reproductive organs. Then how are they going to propagate? We will see. But the meaning of Cryptogams is hidden reproductive organs. Next, what is the meaning of Thallophyta? Thallophyta means flat plants. That's all. These plants are just flat, not like the regular trees we see outside. Now this, I said, Cryptogam is a subkingdom, and it is further divided into few divisions. What are those divisions? First division is Thallophyta, which I already saw. In this lesson we are going to see only Thallophyta, so you don't have to worry about the remaining ones, which we will see in the next lesson. It's Bryophyta and Pteridophyta. There are only 3 divisions in Cryptogams. In the next lesson we will see Bryophyta and Pteridophyta. Now we will directly move into the characteristics and the unique features of Thallophyta. To study the characteristics of Thallophyta, first we will go through an activity that was suggested in our textbook, that is observing the pond water. Now we are supposed to collect water from a pond and take a drop and observe it. Last year we observed to see amoeba. This year we are going to observe something bigger than that, and it will look somewhat like this. What are those crisscross design in green? Those are not just designs. It is called spiral chloroplast. It helps in producing its own food. And then we will also see a cell wall, a rectangular shaped cell wall. So this plant is called Spirogyra, and it is commonly found in ponds. There are many other examples which we will see a little later. What are the characteristics of this Thallophyta? Let us see. They are found mainly in water. Second one is, they have no specific parts like roots, stem, leaves and flowers. You saw that Spirogyra, it was just like a strip with spiral designs. That's all, that's the entire plant. So they have no roots, they have no stem, they have no flowers like this, and they have no fruits also. So this is the main characteristic. But they are autotrophic due to the presence of chlorophyll. We saw spiral chlorophyll in that. This is one of the main characteristics of Thallophyta. And we also saw that Thallophyta means flat plants. You saw that Spirogyra, it is flat. So this we must remember when we are studying Thallophyta. They are also called algae. Are you familiar with the term algae? Have you seen like this green things around your building bricks and walls? These are algae. They have soft and fiber-like body. They show great diversity. What are those diversities? They range from unicellular, single cell, to multicellular, many cells. Microscopic to large. And also found in fresh water as well as saline water. Other examples of Thallophyta, just like Spirogyra, which are, this is something different, Eulothrix. It doesn't have spiral chloroplast, it has a different type. Another example, this is Khara. This is another example of Thallophyta. It is Sargassum. It is found also in water. There is something interesting. Though we have a kingdom called fungi, there are some fungi like yeast and mold which do not have chlorophyll. They are not autotrophic, but they are also included in this group. That is going to be your assignment. Why some of these fungi are included in Thallophyta, and what is the reason? Even though they don't have chlorophyll, they are included. You are going to find out and write and submit it in the next class. Now, so today we saw classification of plants, what are the criteria of classification, and cryptogams in general, and special characteristics of Thallophyta. Let us now see how much we have understood from this lesson. You are going to find errors in the statements. Plants are differentiated based on their colors. Do you think it's true or false? What do you think? Let's see the answer. It is false. Plants are not differentiated based on colors. We saw the criteria of classification, right? There are 3 kingdoms such as unicellular, multicellular and plantae, right? How many kingdoms? 5, no? Unicellular and multicellular are not kingdoms. There are 5 like Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. Next question. All thallophytes are autotrophs. Right or wrong? True or false? Do you remember the assignment I gave you? No, some thallophytes are not autotrophs. The next few more questions we have. Some fungi are thallophytes. What do you think? Yes, it is true. Some fungi are thallophytes. Cryptogams consist of 3 divisions. Right? Yes, it is true. Plants belonging to cryptogams have distinct flowers, fruit and seeds. We saw any fruit, seeds in thallophytes? No. Cryptogams do not have distinct flowers, fruit and seeds. The name itself means hidden reproductive organs. Unlike other plants, fungus can move. What do you think? No, false it is. Fungus cannot move. So dear students, every day we see so many trees around, flowers, fruits. But today we have studied microscopic plants, which are so different. We can't even see it with our eyes. We need microscope. But finally, they all are part of one big kingdom called Kingdom Plantae. They all come under one group. What can we learn from these plants which do not speak? We are also different from each other. You, me, my friend, your friends, everyone. We speak at home, different languages. Our family practices, eating habits and foods, worshipping style, everything is different. Finally, we all belong to one nation, one world. So, these plants are teaching us that, variety is beautiful. It is possible to live with differences and appreciate the differences. Imagine the entire world is full of banyan tree. It will be boring to see. So because we have different colored flowers and different types of plants, everything is colorful and beautiful. So variety is beautiful. So finally, how would you respect this diversity among human beings? Maybe your friend is different than you. How would you respect that? and I already gave you an assignment. Again I am reminding you, find out more about the fungus, fungi like yeast and mold, which are part of Thallophyta. What is the reason? You will find out. So here we will stop.